Hello everyone, welcome to Kanika's Kitchen. Today we are canning tacos. This is one of our favorites. We use these for tacos and burritos, nachos, taco salad, a couple casserole recipes I have. I can this pretty often. We use it a lot. This is what I like to use as far as taco seasoning goes. Can you get it? If you want to do a screenshot. Okay. I don't have any red pepper flakes today, but that's fine. Like if you got little kids, you may want to leave that out anyway. You can also just use the store-bought taco seasoning. It's fine. Woo. Sorry, had to placate them with the popsicle. Buy me a little time to do this. But like I was saying, we use this in a lot of different dishes. I can this quite often. We eat it pretty frequently. It's just you just open up the jar, heat it up, and you've got tacos. So we like to use ground turkey for ours. It's cheaper and it's a lot cheaper. If you buy a whole case of turkey at Sam's right now from the day I'm recording this, I know inflation's going through the roof, but as of last weekend when I went to Sam's Club, it was like $2.42 for a case, and you get like 20 pounds for that amount. So we're gonna be canning a lot of turkey. But we just prefer it. I'm not a big fan of ground beef. If you'd rather have ground beef, that's fine. I think the taste changes a little bit when you can it. Turkey, it tastes the same going in as it does coming out of the canner. I don't have any issues with it. But you can use ground beef with this or any kind of ground meat if you want. The only thing, if it's a fattier meat than turkey, you just want to drain it before you can it. This is a pretty simple, straightforward canning method, and I think you'll really enjoy having this on your shelves. So we're gonna do as much turkey as will fit in my pot. So they come in these little 2.5 pound containers. I think if you buy like the smaller ones, like I was saying, I usually do. Oh, there you get 5 pounds total. Drink this up. I think we can get one more. This is gonna be pretty full, but I'm liking. This is gonna be pretty full, but I like to have a full canner. I mean, I can usually get just under a pound of meat per pint whenever I can this. So we'll see how much I wind up with. But this is going to take a little bit to cook down. I'll probably add some water as well. I'll add some water, get it good and brown, and then I'll add my seasoning. You guys, this is awful trying to cook all this in here. I definitely should have got a bigger pan, or if you have one of those roasters, that would be perfect for this. I used to, and I got rid of it. Oh, sorry, gotta put too much muscle in this. I'm bumping you guys. But a couple years before I got into canning, I tried this. I heard the minimalist movement or whatever. I got rid of my roaster because I hardly ever use it. Now I think, how many times when I'm doing all this big batch cooking would I pull out that roaster now? They'd get rid of your stuff and you won't regret it. But it's a lie. I regret it. I miss my stuff. Phew, my arm is tired. But it looks like our turkey is all browned. I added about 3 cups of water while I was cooking just to keep it from burning. And I'm going to add 3 more cups. Here we go. If I wasn't canning this, I wouldn't add all that liquid. But when you put it in the canner, you want to make sure there's enough liquid in your jars for the heat to be able to permeate. You don't want it real dense. And actually, in the past, I've always just used water. But I've got some of this. You see? That's the beef. I'm going to add some of that in and see how it tastes. Because why not? I've got it, might as well use it. We'll do a heaping teaspoon, maybe, possibly. There we go. And I'm just going to sprinkle in some of the seasoning. I don't drain my turkey either. It's so lean, I don't bother with that step. I don't have any trouble canning it like that, and I think it tastes fine as well. We don't think it has like a greasy taste or anything. Alright. That sounds terrible. Just so gross, but kind of chop up any of the bigger chunks. I had my little meat masher, but it was just not doing the job with all this meat. It was just too short for this much. And we've got it all cooked through. Go ahead and taste it before you can it. This is what it's going to taste like when it comes out of the canner. It's good, but I think we need a little more seasoning. And I do think I like the bouillon in it. I think I'll add some more of that. Alright, I'm going to crank it up a little bit, make sure that bouillon dissolves. Alright, one more taste. I did get a clean fork if y'all are concerned. It's good. I think maybe just a little more seasoning though. So we are dealing with 10 pounds of meat here. Especially turkey, I think it's got a pretty mild flavor. So we're going to keep this hot, keep it warm. It's already totally cooked through and ready to go, but we're just going to keep it hot for the sake of the canning process, and we're going to start filling up some jars. Now that we're at the canning part, I'm just going to speed things up and walk you through what I'm doing. I've got my wide mouth pint jars. I've said it before, these are my favorite for meat. It's just a lot easier to get the meat in and out, and you can pack a little bit more in there as well. I'm just using my canning funnel and just a regular ladle. I'm trying to get an equal amount of, like, I guess you call it broth at this point, of broth in the ground meat in the jars while maintaining my 1 inch of headspace. If you're not sure what a 1 inch headspace is, it's that last little rim. But if you got one of those debubblers, it also has like a little measuring tool on the other end that you can use. You'll see that here in a minute in the video. I grabbed a few more jars and got them all filled up. Here's the debubbling tool I was telling you about, and it's doing just what it sounds like it's supposed to do. I'm just going all around the jars and getting all the bubbles out. That's gonna better your chances of getting a good seal if you get as much of the air out as possible. Just be sure after this step that you maintain your 1 inch headspace. Sometimes you'll have to go back through and pack it down, or maybe take a little bit out, or even add a little bit more from another jar. I've done that before. But yeah, this is a pretty important step, but an easy one. Once the jars are all full and debubbled, the next step is to just wipe the rims down. Mine are usually pretty messy. I'm kind of a sloppy canner. I usually just use a clean paper towel and water. Unless I'm canning something fatty or like a pork butt, sometimes I'll use white vinegar on my paper towel, and that's just help break down the fat. Because the fat layer can be pretty resistant to the water. You want to be pretty thorough, make sure your rims are totally wiped down, otherwise your lids won't be able to adhere to them in the canning process, so there's any barrier there. Now that our rims are nice and clean, we're going to place on our lids. I do not sterilize my lids, or my jars for that matter, at least when I'm pressure canning. I think Ball came out recently saying you no longer had to do that step, and I'm all for it as a pain in the butt step anyway. I can't tell a difference in my lids sealing, whether I let them soak in water or sterilize them or anything. I know a lot of people still like to let them soak in some warm water to soften them up, but I can't tell a difference, so I don't bother with that step. I think here I'm looking for my last lid. I'm pretty sure I lost it. Oh, there it is. Alright, we've got all our lids on. Now you're just going to go through and tighten your rings. And you're going to do it fingertip tight. And I did not know what that meant for the longest time. What it is you're just not putting your wrist into it. If you tighten them too much, your lids will buckle. And once again, they may not seal. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong. But once you get the steps down, you usually have a pretty good success rate. And this is just a nice shot of what your jars will look like before they go into the canner. So we've got our canner full. I've just taken a little bit of oil on a clean paper towel, and I just wipe it around the rim here. Then we're going to place our lid on. And you'll notice you've got like a little arrow right here. When you place it on, and you've got a little hook right here. You want you want this hook to kind of slip right under that lip right there, and then the arrow will line up with this little indentation. And then when you're placing your lid on, you put your locks, or you tighten your locks diagonally. You never do it one at a time. That'll make for a, that'll help your lid sit evenly. There we go. Okay. And then I tighten them all loosely at first, and then I go back and tighten. There we go. And I also kind of look at the little rivets on each one. Make sure they're fairly even. Alright, we'll turn our heat up. You can take this as slowly as you want. The food in here is hot, so I tend to bring it up to heat a little bit quicker. I don't have to worry so much about shocking my jars. If they were cold, I would definitely bring it up slowly. That way I don't shock my jars and bust them. But all we're doing is you're gonna hear a boil first, and then we'll get a steady stream of steam coming up from right here. Sorry, right here. And we'll let it steam for 10 minutes. So we've been steaming for 10 minutes. Now I'm going to take my weight and put it on the 15. That's hot, be careful. I put it on the 15 based on my altitude. Consult your canner manual and it'll tell you what you need. Right there's the 15. When it reaches that mark, my weight will start jiggling. And at that point, I'll start my timer for 75 minutes since we're doing meat and pint jars. If we were doing it in quarts, it would be 90 minutes. But I am going to go ahead and turn down my stove top a little bit. The more you do it, the more you kind of know. I about know where I need to set my stove at to keep the pressure. But it'll continue to rise even though I've turned it down a little bit. Okay, this just takes a couple minutes. But we're up to pressure. And that thing's jiggling. I turned down my stove top a little bit more so that'll settle down. You just want it to jiggle a few times every minute. But I'm going to go ahead and start my timer for 75 minutes. So our 75 minutes is up. I just turned off the heat from on the stove and let this come all the way down to 0. And now that it's all the way to 0, I'm going to take my weight off. I'll let it set a few more minutes and then we'll take the lid off. Alright, it's set for just like about 5 minutes. And I take the lid off the same way. I put it on just like diagonally 2 at a time. Go. And this is all very hot, so be careful. And when we open it up, you're going to see some steam. So be mindful of that. Some people like to let their jars sit in the canner and cool off like that, but I'm not that patient. We'll go ahead and start taking them out and letting them cool off. See, and that's what you would expect taking them right out of the canner. We ended up with 14 pint-sized jars, so I'm really happy with that. It'd be great to have these on my shelf. If you guys like this, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like this, go ahead and subscribe. There's plenty more of this to come. Thank y'all for watching, and hope you come back and see me.